Aloha, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another week of Trauma Recovery University. I'm your host, Athena Moberg, and with us in the green room, of course, is your incredible co-host, Bobby Parrish. And thank you to everyone that is already here early, live, watching for our weekly Q&A for adult survivors of child abuse. I want to let you know that this broadcast for the next hour or so will be discussing childhood abuse, oftentimes childhood sexual abuse, and it can be potentially triggering, and Bobby is going to give us some really great resources if we are triggered and who we can contact and how we can reach out. But I just want to take a moment to welcome each and every one of you. I see so many familiar faces. And send us your tweets using the hashtag #NoMoreShame. Send us your questions or comments or wins on the topic of signs we're making progress in our recovery journey. So progress is one of those topics that people have a really hard time with sometimes. I know it sounds sort of counterintuitive that they would have issues or problems with the topic of progress, but the issue isn't in the topic of progress in our recovery or signs we're making progress. The issue is in our interpretation or confusion or maybe lack of noticing progress in our own lives. In other words, we feel like we're doing really, really good. We're not as triggered by certain things, and our family members that used to really trigger us and upset us text us and email us or stop by, or we see them and it doesn't even faze us and everything's great. And then all of a sudden it does faze us and it does trigger us. And then all of a sudden we feel like, I thought I was better. I thought I was doing so great. And now I'm back where I started. All of my progress has been deleted. And I'm here to tell you that your progress has not been deleted. Progress is still progress, even if sometimes we go back and forth between certain areas of our recovery. Everything is a season, and feelings are feelings, and we are here to sort of unpack the whole topic of what are the signs that we are making progress, even if we don't notice the progress ourselves because we're feeling so frustrated that we're not farther along, we're not over it by now. Gosh, that was so long ago. When are we going to get past it? Why can't I just be normal? All these like shaming and shoulding and all these other statements that are sort of thrown at us by society, by our families, by ourselves. Such a loaded topic, and I just have to say that this is our second Twitter chat of the week. If you're not familiar with our broadcast, we have 3 Twitter chats a week. First one being hashtag CSAQT, which is at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time for our friends over in the UK. And then this is our second Twitter chat of the week, hashtag #NoMoreShame, which, as you can see, is a live interactive Twitter chat with a video component, so we can sort of answer your questions and talk with you. And sometimes we read emails. I got another email that I would love to share with you guys during our broadcast. And but I would just love to turn this over to Bobby and sort of talk about some content and discuss this really important topic of signs we're making recovery. And before we move a little bit further and I hand it over to my partner Bobby, I would love if you would take this opportunity to allow us to thank you. And the way we like to thank you is by giving you complimentary access to tonight's downloadable PDF resource. Every week we give you a complimentary download. Every week it matches up with the topic of the week. And if you head on over to one of our websites, either traumarecoveryuniversity.com or our project website, which is nomoreshameproject.com, you will see a tab that says downloadables. If you click on downloadables, you'll be asked for your email, and then you will get instant access to not only tonight's downloadable PDF resource, which is titled Signs We Are Making Progress in Our Recovery, but you'll get access to our entire library of downloadable PDF resources, which now there's like 80 or 90 or something. Is like a lot. And there's almost 100 hours of video content over on our YouTube channel. You'll see a tab for that on the website as well. And so we just want to say thank you. If you're listening on a podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, wherever you're finding us, if you're finding us anywhere but on our YouTube channel or our Roku TV channel, I want to let you know this is a video broadcast, and we love to just interact with you live every single week. So if this video ends up being helpful for you in any way, we would love if you would hit the like button and share it and subscribe to our channel. And without further ado, I'm just going to hand this over to my partner, Bobby Parrish, and she is going to lead us in our educational portion of tonight's broadcast. Take it away, Bobby.
Hi, everybody. I am just furiously greeting people who are here already. It's so exciting. August is here. Baby girl, Leanne. Leanne, you were with us this morning too. So hi, I'm waving back at you. Kate is here. Phoenix is here. Kalisha is here. So many people. Dominique's going to be here soon. She already sent a message saying she was headed this way as soon as she finished her chores. So it is wonderful to see everyone, and I'm so glad that you're here. And we're so honored that you would take an hour out of your week to spend time with us and learn more about recovery and the process of recovery as a survivor of childhood abuse. Before we go any further, I want to issue another trigger warning. This is a video broadcast. This is a podcast about recovering from childhood abuse, and we will specifically talk about recovery from childhood sexual abuse. Hearing this, watching this may be triggering for you. So if at any time you're triggered, just go ahead and shut this down, walk away from it. All the broadcasts, if you're watching it live, they are recorded. They'll be up on YouTube within a matter of a couple of hours, and you can watch them come back anytime. You don't have to miss out if you're watching live and you get triggered. So don't hesitate to just shut things down. We don't want you to feel badly while you're watching one of the videos or to feel badly after watching one of the videos. So feel free to just walk away from it, do some processing, grounding, distracting, and then you can come back later and view the rest of it if you're ready. If you are in crisis or you are triggered, we would love to refer you to our friends at RAIN. That's the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, and they are available in Canada and the United States toll-free at 1-800-656-HOPE, H-O-P-E. Again, that's 1-800-656-HOPE, H-O-P-E. And they also have worldwide, available to anyone in the world who has internet, a crisis chat feature on their website, rain.org. So you can anybody can access that from any time. And then if you are in the United Kingdom, you can reach out to the Samaritans. And the Samaritans, have a toll-free number. In the UK, they have offices that you can go into, and you can also reach out via email to Joe, and that's Joe, J-O, at samaritans.org. So all of those are resources that are available to you. And again, as Athena said, tonight we're talking about signs of progress in your recovery. Because we tend to lose sight. We might get triggered about something that we haven't been triggered by in a long time and think we're losing ground. Or we might just have a hard time in general seeing progress in our recovery. And that makes so much sense because we were conditioned to watch for the negative things as children. Focusing on the positive didn't keep us safe. Focusing on the negative was what kept us safe because it kept us looking for signs of someone being in a bad mood, looking for impending doom, looking for dangerous situations. We were constantly scanning our horizon and scanning the people in front of us to see if there were dangerous or unsafe conditions ahead so we could prepare for them. So we didn't survive by focusing on the positive. We survived by needing to focus on the negative. And even more so, chances are quite high that if we were raised within an abusive, dysfunctional situation, our caregivers did not focus on the positive. More often, they probably focused on the negative. And so we learned to do that from them. So we learned to do it from our environment, and we learn to do it from our caretakers. And then we go into adulthood, and we no longer have to be constantly scanning our environment to see who's going to harm us to the extent that we did when we were children. Now it's okay to learn to focus on the positive, but we have to learn how to do that. So we're going to give you some road signs tonight so that if you're traveling on in your recovery journey and you see this happening, you know you're making progress. Or if you see this happening, you know you're making progress. Or this happening. Hi, Tracy. We're just going to go through, we've got quite a list to go through of signs that you know you're making progress in your recovery, so that it's black and white, no doubt, completely objective. You know when you are making progress because you see one of these signs, and it's telling you, 200 miles gained on the road to recovery because you've done this. And it's just not something anymore that you have to worry about. Gosh, is that a sign? Is that not a sign? Do I have to ask people, do you see me making progress in my recovery? And we get that question a lot from people.
We definitely do.
Because it is so hard for us to see our own progress.
Oftentimes, Bob, I think it's worth mentioning, Bobby, you and I have talked about this off the air so many times that I think it's worth mentioning on the live broadcast. And that is, when we were younger, oftentimes if we grew up in an environment that was dysfunctional or abusive, our accomplishments were not acknowledged. It wasn't like many of us had like our spelling test on the refrigerator and yay, let's go out for ice cream and celebrate the fact that you won your swim meet. And, yay, accomplishment, you're doing so good. Oftentimes, if we like did anything really awesome or super exciting, or we got student of the month, or we got a smiley face on one of our somethings, or we got like an O on like behavior or whatever it was, like we give you like O's for outstanding and whatever, like along with your A, B, C, D, F, like there was also like the O's. And anyway, so oftentimes if we were excited about some progress that we were making and we were like, hey, guess what, get West, they're like, sometimes, and I can only speak for my own situation, they'd be like, well, okay, just shut the F up, I'm watching TV, or just hurry up and get your chores done, I already told you about it 14 times. Or okay, I already heard you, gosh, like, or you're getting a big head, I mean, come on, like, really? Like, this is the reason why I don't ever tell you that you're doing anything good, because you're going to be like boasting and bragging all the time. Like, come on, get over yourself. The dogs need to be fed. You need to water the horse. You need to go outside. What's going on? Like, so for us, almost, and I can only speak for myself, accomplishment and progress and something is almost like I go to get excited about it and I almost catch myself, because when I used to get excited about something, it was always met with something that was either violent or it was derogatory, and it wasn't something that was positive. And so that kind of brainwashing bullshit is really difficult to delete, you guys. Yeah. Sorry for the cussing.
It's almost like when we go to celebrate progress, we feel like we're being boastful or prideful.
We're doing something wrong. We're doing
something wrong. It brings up that feeling of, oh gosh, I better not do this. I probably better not say anything. And it's interesting, Athena, that you talk about, the responses from your parents, and my responses were more like, well, yeah, that's what we expected. We're not going to congratulate you for something that we expect you to do. So, there was no, yay, you did great. It's like, well, yeah, good. We expect nothing less. And so there was no celebration of, yeah, you did great. It's like, okay, you met our standards. You get to live for another. I'm kidding. I wasn't alive for death situation, but
But still, guys, like, I'm sure that we're gonna get some tweets like, that was me, that was my family. Oh my gosh, you're not alone in this, you guys. We just want you to know you're not alone. If your response or your acknowledgement to accomplishment style was more towards my family, or if your acknowledgement of accomplishment was more towards Bobby's type of family, where it was very like, it was, yes, we expect nothing less from you because you're perfect, you're supposed to be perfect, or whatever. Right. you're not alone. I mean, and that's the black and the white, and there's always a million zillion different shades of whatever else sprinkled in the middle of a response. And I'm not trying to place judgment on a whole bunch of families that have different ways of rewarding their children, but I am going to say this because this is our broadcast. If you are not saying to your children, or if you were not told by your parents, I'm so proud of you. Well done. You really worked hard and you earned that A, and high five. Awesome. Like, I'm super proud of you. If you were told anything but that, or some version of that, chances are this broadcast that you're going to be watching is going to help you, because you probably have been making progress for so long and you didn't even know it was progress, or you were kind of afraid to mention it. And anyway, you're not alone. You're not alone. And there is definitely a huge spectrum of healthy to unhealthy to toxic to abusive to exploitative, and a zillion other adjectives to describe different family dynamics. But this is specifically for the adult survivor of child abuse, specifically even childhood sexual abuse or human trafficking, and how to tell if we are making progress, even though our sensors are sort of like messed up or not accurate sometimes. Because our sensors can get messed up and they're not always accurate. Right, Bobby?
Right, exactly. But with road signs, then you can go by the road sign system, and those road signs that we're going to give you are pretty darn accurate. It was the most awesome thing this morning to go to chat, and initially people seemed a little hesitant. What's the topic? What are we talking about? But as soon as people really started putting their ideas and their thoughts out there about what are signs that I'm recovering, it was like this tidal wave of awesome feedback that people were giving. I was like, yeah, now I do this. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sleeping better. I'm finding it easier to take care of myself. And it was so amazing this morning in chat to see that focus be on celebrating one another's accomplishments and be on acknowledging how far we've all come. It was so cool.
Well, it was amazing. And we had some people, because our Twitter chat on Monday mornings, you guys, is mostly and specifically, it was started for our British contingency. We started to have this huge audience of people that were in the UK, and they were like, but your chats are all at 2 a.m. What about us? And so anyway, that's how it all kind of started. And we had one of our people from the UK come and say, wow, I'm just going to sit here and favorite every single tweet because this is so positive and encouraging for me. I am so excited. I'm so excited by this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it was like, wow, it really is super, encouraging. We spend so much of our time fighting, you guys, and struggling because, mental illness and debilitating, autoimmune deficiencies and all kinds of crazy things that go along with surviving trauma, especially for an extended period of time, or even if it was a one-time occurrence. It can be hard. Life is difficult. Life is already complicated and difficult if you don't have any issues from childhood, like trauma, isolation, and abuse. But when you add all of that and it sort of compounds on top of one another, to come to a chat that is normally like, okay, I'm going to brace myself. I'm going to work through this issue that I have right now because I care about my wellness, and go, wait, I just get to celebrate today? Woo! This is a vacation. It was almost like we had like a vacation day or like a holiday, Bobby, don't you think? Well, it is President's Day, but you know what I mean.
That's true. But, I forgot that because not everybody had much off here in Texas today. And I think it's a good reminder because we focus a lot on our broadcasts about the hard things and the challenges, but because we want so much for y'all not to go through what we went through. We want to give you a heads up, so to speak, a boost. But it is nice to talk about the positive and the good things. And so we're going to try and mix it up a little bit more so that we have more celebration along with ways to get through the hard stuff. So it was absolutely wonderful this morning to see everyone's accomplishments and to see people cheering each other on. and saying, that's great, I'm really proud of you, awesome progress, because we don't usually get a lot of that. And hopefully as we move through our recovery, we're getting healthier and healthier relationships. And so we're getting more and more of that. But especially when we're new to recovery, we might be in some pretty toxic relationships, or we might be pretty isolated. And so we don't get those kind of, yay, congrats feedback very often. And, one more reason why Athena and I push so hard for survivors to get involved in community, because that kind of feedback is so motivating. To have people validate, yes, you are making progress, I see it. And to have people give you the perspective of, you're moving, you're going forward, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because it's getting you forward. Those
we have people making comments on that topic, Bobby. We have Leanne is saying, or like when you make progress, but you're afraid to share it because you don't want to jinx it. That's a really big one too. That's a misnomer. And my parents were not my abusers, but they reminded me so much about being humble. So I never deserved a pat on the back for a job well done. Ever since you did blank, you think you are so perfect. Pride goes before the fall. And I mean, for scripture to be taken out of context like that and used against children that are just excited that they got an A on a spelling test, it's just wrong, you guys. Like, that's why we are here to share with you how proud we are of you for all the progress you've made, whether it was getting that A on a spelling test when you were 7 or the progress you're making in your recovery. Like, we're proud of you. We're celebrating you. We're celebrating the growth that you've experienced and the journey that you've made and the commitment. It takes a lot of commitment to want to get past and recover and heal from childhood trauma. So we really want to just acknowledge you guys and just take this moment to say we're really proud of you.
Tracy brought up something that I haven't seen very often, but she says that her parents responded with, "Oh, you got picked to be in the musical? Well, now I have to drive you there."
Oh, I got that one. Oh,
and it's goodness. Like, you're doing a good thing, inconvenienced them, so then that therefore made it not a good thing. That's so painful to have that taken away from you. What child doesn't want to have their parents celebrate their accomplishments with them? That's so important, and that is so critical to building up a child's self-esteem and self-confidence. So you sometimes have to do that yourself now as you're an adult. And we've talked before about parenting ourselves, and it's hard. But we still kind of have to do it. We have to give ourselves that attaboy and that you're doing a good job to build up our own self-confidence. So we have to
Bobby, Grace Hope says, I know this might sound stupid, but I feel ashamed of my therapist says you did good work today. It's not stupid, Grace Hope. It's not stupid at all. Because sometimes when people tell us that we're doing really good, like, this can also come into play, which we have not mentioned this week, but we've mentioned it in prior weeks. And Bobby, you can chime in anytime. But that is sometimes when people were being nice to us or saying, oh, you did such a good job. I'm so proud of you. Come here. Give me a hug. Oh, I want to sit on my lap. Oh, my goodness. Oh, your dress is so pretty. It could lead to other things. The grooming process is really complicated, you guys. And that could even have twisted and turned and sort of like flip-flopped and got all braided and tangled up with like using praise or congratulatory comments in order to lure. And it's just really messy and it's really delicate. So Grace Hope, it's not stupid. Nothing, first of all, it's nothing that you say or do or any of us say or do is stupid. We're all in a different place in our recovery. And that is something that is an area of growth for you. And we just want to tell you we're proud of you. And if that is uncomfortable for you, I'm sorry, but we really are proud of you. And we're hoping that this can be a safe space for you to receive that praise and know that we're not preying upon you or wanting anything in return. We just want to tell you we're proud of you and we want to celebrate with you. Yeah. Bobby, your thoughts on that?
And I think for some of us too, it gets wrapped up in the issue of someone being an authority figure. We can accept praise and congratulations more easily from our peers than for someone who is, in our mind, an authority figure. And for many of us, our therapist, our psychologist, our psychiatrist is an authority figure. And so, and, you know, and that ties in some with what Athena said of, you know, authority figures who've misused their power in the past. And sometimes it's just that need within us to want to please our authority figures. And so the praise, not quite sure if it's all good, it's a ploy, it's not right. And so it comes into play. And it's the best thing that I can tell anyone to do is just to sit with it, to say thank you. And over time, it will grow. You'll grow more comfortable with it. Over time, you will have more trust established with your therapist so that you'll know that when they say something, that's what they really mean. They're not trying to trick you. They're not trying to misuse you. And over time, it will get easier. And over time, you'll be able to accept that praise more wholly, meaning whole, not holy, like with a halo over my head. But, you know, it's okay, too, to tell your therapist. If they say, I think you're doing good work, or I think you did good work today, it's perfectly fine to say, I don't trust that.
Bobby, remember when we very first started meeting a couple years ago, and then you would say, you know, you realize like you're a blessing, like you're doing good things, like you know that, right? And I would say, I want to believe you, but I don't think I believe you. I'm sorry. I trust you, but I don't believe you. I'm really sorry. Remember that?
Yes. But, you know, but over time, you got to the point where you could receive that. And I think that's what I want so much for our peeps to know, is that over time,
oh, I lost you. I'm back. Sorry. Something just happened. It just deleted everything.
Are you there? Wow, this is weird. Now I have two of you, Athena. Whoa, now three.
Uh-oh. I don't know what's going on. It just keeps saying, ah, snap.
Hey, hang on. I'm going to go out and come back.
Oh boy. Hey guys, I'm not sure exactly what is going on. I'm not 100% sure why it's doing what it's doing. But it looks like we still have everybody here with us on the video. Apologies for the software, guys.
Isn't that weird?
I don't really know what to say other than like Google is upset with us or something. Oh, look, they're dropping off. Oh, this is good. Maybe we can eject. Eject. Yes, I want to eject that person. Okay, so back on topic. Okay, so there's so much of I know that August and another person were talking back and forth, like, why is it that we have such a hard time receiving any type of congratulatory comment about our progress? And I hope that the comments that Bobby and I have been giving you and the reasons behind that and the old tapes and the conditioning and the grooming and the triggers and all of the stuff that's sort of like, we say, like a pile of baklava and spaghetti. I hope that helps you guys. If it helps, will you tweet us and just let us know if that helps? What did I miss when I went out, Bobby, or did it kick you out as well?
No. You did fine. We were talking. Oh, look, I lost my name tag and everything. How bizarre. Should we move on to talking about the one page?
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel bad that like the software is being so crazy and that our video is going to be jumbly. Maybe Harriet can edit this stuff out. I don't know, Harriet, if you get this and you see that it's crazy and you can carefully and beautifully edit it so that it's wonderful, then that would be awesome. Feel free. But yeah, I would love to move into our one-page comment. I'm trying to keep up with everybody's tweets, you guys, but I mean, there are so many of you here, and it's hard to keep up. I'm like 7 minutes behind on the tweet stream, you guys. So please just give me some mercy and grace, because just help a girl out. I just need some mercy and grace right about now. So. Oh, Jack says that everyone's sharing during CSAQT this morning. We're delightfully electric and joyful. I love your choice of vernacular, Jack. It is so encouraging. Thank you.
Okay, Angela is here. Hi, Angela. It's good to see you. Let's take a look at the one page. Let's see here. Okay.
Oh, Sarah says she was always compared to others and not enough. Oh, Sarah, you deserve so much more than that, sweetie. You're so awesome. We are so proud of you.
And you are more than enough.
More, so much more than enough. Oh my goodness. Kate says, this may sound ridiculous, but praise can be triggering to me. So when people mean it in a good way, it's really hard for me to hear. Kate, that you are not alone, honey. You are not alone. Oh my goodness, you are not alone. Seriously. Oh, Leanne says she ends up blushing. Oh, I know.
That's okay.
You guys, remember when I told you that we were during a chat, like I think it was several months back, and someone told me that I was beautiful or gorgeous or something, and I almost peed? you guys, when you have damage to your body, or you have triggers from prior trauma, and something that is said to you triggers that, you don't have complete control of your faculties in those moments. So, I mean, if it's a trigger, and if it's a ninja trigger, like someone saying that I was gorgeous or something like that, then please don't shame yourself if you can help it. Or if you have been shaming yourself, I'm hoping you can reframe it into something that you can, grow from and learn to appreciate and enjoy somehow.
Yeah. Shaming is a biological response. Not shaming, blushing. Woo, that was a terrible mix-up. Blushing is a purely biological response.
Yes.
And it's okay. Okay. And I want to give a shout out to Stu, who's at the Gatehouse tonight with his peeps watching. Stu has been a member of our community, I believe, since we first started. Yes. And we are so thrilled to have him in our community and to have him doing such awesome work that he does at the Gatehouse, and for sharing us with other people.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stu.
So let's look at our one page. And again, this is available on the web page, nomoreshameproject.com. You see a tab up at the top that says downloadables. Just click on that and you will see a whole list, a long list of all the topics that we have covered since we started a year and a half ago. And typically the newest topic is at the bottom of the list. We're working on reversing that now.
We reversed it. It's all
okay. So now the newest topic is at the top. So there you go, first topic. But don't hesitate to scroll through the rest and print off any that you want to. That's why we put them together, so you could print them off, put them in a binder, put them on a bulletin board, whatever you need to do, so you have them right there available and ready whenever you need them. So what we're talking about today are common signs that your recovery is moving forward. And this first part, like all of our one pages, contains some information or education about the topic. And here we're talking about why survivors tend not to see their own recovery. And sometimes it's because we grew up in a home where positive things didn't happen. We were never shown how to focus on the positive. Our parents, our caretakers, our siblings, whoever we were around were always focusing on the negative, and that's what we learned. Sometimes it's a mechanism of trying to stay safe because we're always scanning the horizon to see who's upset, what's going on, so that we can try and prevent ourselves from being attacked or abused. And sometimes it is just hard to recognize that we have done anything good, because we have been shown throughout our childhood and sometimes into our adulthood that we're bad. And bad people can't do good things. Therefore, we will never be able to do a good thing. But all of that is wrong. You are more than capable of doing good things, and you are more than capable of making progress in your recovery. So we're going to give you some road signs. These are not subjective. These are objective signs that you are making recovery, making progress in your recovery, that you are recovering. Now, are you going to see all of these at once? Nope. Will you see all of these through the course of your recovery? Maybe not. Will you see some this year, some the next year, some a couple months later? Probably. So there's no pattern or rhyme or reason to which these will show up on your recovery journey. That's not what the order means. Nothing. Okay, so this isn't the order that you're going to see them. Not one of these is not more important than the other. It's just that these are some standard road signs that you will see, that you can look at and go, hey, look, that means I'm getting better. I'm recovering. Okay, so the first one, we become more resilient. And what does resilient mean? But resilience means we bounce back from difficult or traumatic experiences quicker and more easily than we have before. Okay?
Yeah.
I can't remember who I was talking to recently about triggers. That our triggers never completely go away, but we will get more resilient in dealing with them. Okay? So whereas, say for example, something triggering for me is when a man that I've barely known will come up to me and put his arm around me and, invade my personal space and just start chit-chatting up a storm with me without my even, knowing very much who he is. That triggers me. I know I'm getting better when I can recover from that trigger within a matter of a couple of hours, instead of it knocking my feet underneath me for the rest of the day, for the next couple of days, because it brings up all sorts of images and movies and voices and flashbacks in my head. So
that was very powerful imagery, Bobby. Like movies and flashbacks and all. I mean, yes.
Yeah. So when you notice that you are becoming more resilient, you will notice that means you're getting better. You're making progress.
You bounce back faster.
Yep, you bounce back faster. Our distress tolerance increases. We've talked a little bit in the last couple of videos, as a matter of fact, about distress tolerance. And we have a video out there talking about coping with overwhelming emotions. It is very difficult, typically, for survivors to tolerate distress. Distress meaning uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable emotions. For example, in my household, anger was not tolerated. And so for me to feel anger is very distressing. And so in the past, if I felt that feeling of anger and I was distressed, I might start to overeat or binge eat in order to soothe that emotion inside me. But as my distress tolerance increases, meaning I become more tolerant with the feeling of anger, because I learn that just because I feel angry doesn't mean something bad is going to happen. It's just a feeling. It's not good. It's not bad. It's nothing. It's just a feeling. Nothing bad is going to happen to me. I am not going to do something bad to someone else because I feel angry. Now I'm able to tolerate the feeling of anger without reaching for an unhealthy coping mechanism. That's called distress tolerance. That is a primary skill that is taught in DBT therapy, dialectical behavior therapy.
Hey, Bobby. Stu says that when he's given a compliment, he holds a stone in his pocket and he gives gratitude back, it helps to keep him grounded. That
I
is
like that.
that is really awesome, Stu. That is an excellent tool because sometimes you guys, sometimes, like we were saying earlier, we're not comfortable with those compliments. We don't know what they're going to lead to. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know the intent. We don't know if someone's being sincere, or like Dominique and I were saying previously, you get paid to say that. I want to believe you, but I don't believe you. So that is an excellent strategy, Stu, to stay grounded, because it can be triggering. And how do you ground yourself? So that's
Right.
wonderful. Thanks for sharing, Stu.
Yes. This next one, our frustration tolerance increases. A frustration tolerance is a marker that I was used in grad school to gauge recovery when, especially amongst children, especially amongst adolescents, and those of us who were raised in an environment that was really not strong on language skills. So we've become adults sometimes without the language skills to express the complicated and complex emotions that we might be feeling. And so because we can't do that, and we become frustrated, and we might, again, reach for an unhealthy coping mechanism. So when we can tolerate a situation and not become frustrated, you're rushing in the morning, you're already late, and you can't find your car keys. For the 500th time this month, you can't find your car keys, and you get frustrated. And you get more frustrated and more frustrated and more frustrated as time passes, as the clock ticks by. Now you're yelling at people. Now you're picking the mail up and throwing it back down on the counter because your keys are not underneath it. You're just getting very, very frustrated.
Yeah.
When you see that situations like that don't throw you for a loop anymore, you become more tolerant. It's like, wow, okay, can't find my keys, and they're not under here. Anybody seen my keys? You're not yelling. You're not doing anything other than just looking for your keys. That's an indication that you are making recovery progress.
Hey, Bobby.
Uh-huh.
On the topic of why it's difficult to receive messages regarding making progress, Grace Hope was saying that she feels shame because her mom would say, wait until they see the real you. Then they'll know what I had to put up with.
No, that's awful.
And I remember
that's horrible.
I got told something very, very similar by my family members saying, you know what? This is just one accomplishment. Of course that is what you did. You are in our family. Of course you did that. Just wait. And then when they get really frustrated with you, they'll say, you know what? I hope you grow up to have 5 children just like yourself. Then you'll know what I had to put up with. That's what I got. I got that one. Similar to yours, Grace. Oh my goodness gracious.
The reality is we would probably all love to have 5 Athenas, right?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know about that. I want to believe you, Bobby, but I don't think I believe you right now.
Well, maybe not 5. Because I'm not sure I would take 5 of anything, 5 children. Because that's just not, I'm not equipped for that one. But I would have taken several.
Oh, thank you. I feel the same way about having a few Bobbies around, for real. Jack says he can resonate with what Grace Hope was sharing, because he was told, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, no good girl is going to ever want to marry you. And then he says, ha. Simi showed her.
That's right.
His wife.
Exactly.
That's growth right there. That's growth right there, you guys.
Yes. So the next on our list is we begin to experience and express emotions that previously felt off limits or were too frightening to experience, like anger. I had a client the other day tell me that she felt anger for like 2 minutes, and she was so excited because that was the most she had ever felt, anger, without shutting the lid on that feeling because it was too frightening.
That's wonderful.
For others, I can't tell you how many clients I have sat with who have not wanted to look into or accept the pain that they felt about their abuse, because they were afraid if they went to that place and they felt that pain, they would be swallowed whole by it and never, ever, ever be able to come back. So when you start to be able to experience feelings that you didn't used to be able to, that is a good sign of recovery progress. When we utilize fewer negative coping skills like dissociation, overeating, drinking, yelling, whatever coping mechanism that we have turned to in the past that has been unhealthy for us, when we start to see ourselves picking those up less and less often, that's a sign of recovery. And even one time less often.
Eva's here. Hi, Eva, unless you pronounce it Ava. She says, I hope you have a daughter just like you. Wow, yes. Sorry to interrupt, Bobby. I just thought I wanted to give Ava a shout out because I rarely get to say hi to her on camera. So thank you, Eva.
When our self-talk is more positive and supportive than negative and destructive, and this can be a really, really hard one, because, more often than not, we did self-talk just maybe 4 weeks ago, talking about how we internalize the messages that were given to us by our abusers. And so learning positive self-talk is hard. But when you begin to see some progress in that area, and some of these, we're not talking about huge amounts of progress. I'm talking about if one time less today than yesterday, you said something negative to yourself about yourself, that's progress. Okay, it's a long
progress. I'm having progress. Then I definitely identify with that one.
Yeah, it's a long road, you guys. I wish I could tell you, hey, stick with us. We've got the magic cure. 90 days from now, you'll be cured. But wait, there's more. If you pay twice the amount of money, we'll get you healed 45 days. It's not going to happen. That's right. We'll give you a set of steak knives too.
The Ginsu knives.
Ginsu knives. Yeah, but wait, there's more. It's not as hard, hopefully, as what Athena and I went through, because there are so many more resources available now, but it's not a journey that you're going to just charge forward through. And so any sign of progress is good. Any sign of progress, it's okay to celebrate. The next one, we have increased hope about our future and believe that it holds a life we will enjoy living. Okay, that is huge. And when you're in the middle of recovery and things, everywhere you turn, everything is hard, and it seems like no matter which way you go, it's uncomfortable, it's difficult, it's like slogging uphill through mud with a 55-pound backpack on 24/7. When you can start to see some glimmer that that's going to end, and you believe that even if you can't see it, that it will end, that is a sign of progress in your recovery. We recognize and own the truth that our abuse was not our fault. And I'm here to tell you that's a huge turning point in your recovery, when you no longer take the blame that your abuser wanted you to take for what happened. That is huge progress. And from that, you're going to see so many changes in your recovery. You're going to see less shame, less social isolation, more compassion. That one right there is it's a central turning point. And the next one, we begin owning and exercising our personal power to support ourselves in our recovery. Okay, and we've talked about this before. We didn't have any control when we were little. We had no power. The most power we had was to do what we thought was the best thing we needed to do to stay alive and get through it. But now as adults, we have all kinds of power. And when we take our power back and we stand up for anything, I can remember the days when for me being powerful meant telling the guy at the restaurant that what he just put down in front of me was not what I ordered.
I still struggle with that.
I
do. I still struggle.
I understand. I understand. Like I said, some of us are going to, do different things in different order. And for me, that was one of the first things I tackled with my power.
August says that her maladaptive daydreaming has almost vanished. And I told her that is huge progress. Way to go, August.
Yeah. I can remember when I first heard that term, August, and it's like, maladaptive daydreaming. What's that? Oh, wait, I do that. Once I read the definition, I do that a lot. Yeah, I got a whole world in my head, and they are nice people, and I like it in there. It's much more a friendly place to be inside my head than sometimes it is out in the real world. So I'm with you there, August. And for me, I know that I'm hitting a hard patch if that's what I'm doing more often. So obviously the opposite then would be true. If I'm not invested in my daydreaming as much, that means I'm moving forward. Here's a good one. We practice self-care more frequently and with greater self-compassion. Okay, so when you make progress, when you are able to provide yourself with more self-care, and instead of wrestling it out of, the grip of death that you have upon it, that feels like you don't deserve any self-care, when you're able to freely give it to yourself, so give it with greater compassion, that too is a sign that you are making progress in your recovery. And remember, you can start small. Self-care for you today can be turning on the radio and just dancing for 5 minutes. That's self-care. There you go. You win. There's no miscellaneous arbitrary standard that says you don't win at self-care unless you do it for 3 hours a day and it's something huge and awesome like going to the spa.
Or yoga.
Or, just no. Self-care can be something nice you do for yourself no matter what quantity and no matter what it is. So
Simi says, thanks for all the positivity, you guys. I was feeling depressed before, and now I am beginning to feel better. You are welcome, Simi. We are so proud of you. Thank you for being here. Bobby, this is helping so many people. I have so many different tweets coming in.
Well, I think that celebrating our recovery is something maybe that we're just so used to not doing.
Yeah.
Or rather, not used to doing, I think is the way I put it.
Yeah.
And so when we do it, it really helps.
August says, I think a progress of mine is realizing how impactful the abuse was and no longer minimize it. That is huge progress when you are not minimizing, August. I want to acknowledge that, because we were trained very skillfully to minimize. I got completely gaslit about whenever I would try to bring up something, and I would say, well, this is what happened, and I just need to let you know that I feel that was wrong. And they would say, well, what are you talking about? That never happened. Yes, it did. And you guys, I have to say that an area of progress for me in my recovery is I don't believe the lie anymore. I don't doubt my reality and my truth and the truth of what my life was like as often as I used to. And that is progress for me. Do I still doubt? Bobby will be able to tell you, because she knows me very, very, very well because we work together so often. Yes, I still doubt. I have dreams that with voices and family members and things and stuff, and I still doubt, but I doubt less, you guys.
Right. Yes. And, you know, if you walk away from tonight's broadcast with anything, I really want you to walk away with the fact of knowing that any amount of any of these is a really good thing. Okay? We're not setting a measuring stick on anything. So if you feel, you know, 1 iota better, you do 1 iota better on self-care, you take back your power, you know, 1 infinitesimal amount. Great. It counts. It matters. It's all worth celebrating, because I promise that the more that you celebrate the small things, the more they will become big things. Because you're setting yourself up for success, and you are building your self-confidence, and you're building your self-esteem. And all of that is going to lead to progress. Okay, here's another one. We maintain positive growth and coping strategies during times of stress and challenge, rather than reverting to old coping strategies and behaviors that don't serve us. This is a big one. And I find myself, you know, Athena talked about when we just came on the air about, you know, I thought I had gotten that right. And then boom, a trigger came up and I went back. I reverted back.
All of my progress was deleted.
Right. And the reality is that's the way our brain functions. When we become stressed, when we're overstressed, overwhelmed, our brain will reach back to its most primitive responses. It's just the way our brain works. But when we solidify those healthy responses more and more into our brain, into us, into our way of being, then we are less and less likely to be so triggered and so upset that we revert that far back. So the more that you see yourself when you're triggered, when you're stressed, when you're overwhelmed, reaching back for those old habits rather than staying in the new ones that you have grounded, then that's a sign of recovery.
Bobby, baby girl says now she now realizes that her past was just a story, and now she is on to a new book. Baby girl, that is such progress. That's amazing. For all of you who do not know baby girl on Twitter, her Twitter handle is Don't Run Baby Girl. She is a TED speaker, a TEDx speaker, you guys. She has given talks on her testimony of her childhood sexual abuse. And I just have to tell you what an encouragement she has been to me and to Bobby, and just the work that we're doing with survivors. And, you know, that is huge, you guys, to make, that is a huge sign of progress. If you are able to say, you know what, my past does not define me. My abuse does not define me. It is something that happened to me. It is not me. It's not the core of who I am. That is big, 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 big progress, you guys. Even if you only believe it for a minute and then you go back to feeling whatever you were feeling previously, you felt it. You felt it and you got a glimmer of that, and you will begin to realize the truth about yourself and your recovery and your strength and who you really are as a person, just as you continue to press on. Even if it feels like all your recovery progress has been deleted because you feel triggered by something, it's not. Like, no. You feel that progress, like baby girl was just talking about, realizing that it doesn't define you and that it's just a story. That's all it is. Then yes, it happened. We don't want to minimize the power of what happened to you, but it does not define your future. You get to take your power back. You get to take your life back. You get to unashamedly participate in this thing called recovery and reclaim your life, or not even reclaim it, how Bobby and I always say. Sometimes it's claiming it for the very first time.
Right.
Well done, baby girl.
Jody, if you want people to know to watch your TEDx video, can you put the link out on your Twitter profile?
Yes,
so people
please.
Can watch it. I feel uncomfortable giving your full real name for people to look it up without your permission. So
I hope it's okay that I mentioned that.
Oh.
That I mentioned her TED Talk. I hope that's okay.
I can't see why not. But if you want people to see it, would you put the link out on your Twitter profile or just out on a tweet for us, baby girl, so people can go and look at it? It really is quite powerful.
Yeah, Simi says that progress for her is sometimes just to remembering to wash her hair. It feels like a big deal. Girlfriend, I am with you. You are not alone there. Oh my word. Kalisha says, I've made progress in less extreme startle response, distress tolerance. So she self-harms fewer times. That is huge progress, Kalisha. We are so proud of you. Baby girl says another sign of her post-traumatic growth is that she actually loves going to therapy now. Woo woo, confetti. Wow.
So we have 2 more here to go. The second to last one is that we have built and are able to maintain strong boundaries against toxic people and toxic treatment. Okay, so just building the boundaries is hard, then maintaining the boundaries can be hard as well. But when we make progress in that area, that means you're making progress in your recovery. And then this last one, we experience a decrease in our PTSD symptoms, like nightmares, intrusive thoughts, disrupted sleep. A lot of people were talking about that this morning in chat, saying, you know, I don't have as many nightmares as I used to. I sleep better. All of those. Whenever you see those symptoms from your PTSD dropping, or perhaps you not only do you have PTSD, but perhaps you have depression. So you see your symptoms of depression getting better. All of that is an indicator that you are making progress in your recovery.
Yeah.
There we go.
I am just so proud of everybody. Oh my goodness gracious. August says that an area of progress for her is that she felt a decrease in her shame for like 2 minutes. And it was really freeing, but yet it was uncomfortable. And I want to say, hallelujah, amen, me too, sister. Hello. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I almost feel like I'm feeling super awesome, great. Whoa, wait a second. Is the rug going to be ripped out? Is the rug going to get ripped out from underneath my feet? Right. Like, I'm afraid to feel good because every time I go to feel good and like super proud of myself, something bad happens. And that I just have been learning just through all this work that Bobby and I have been doing and through my years of recovery. Like Bobby and I have like 30, 40 something years in recovery between us. But like I'm learning over time, you guys, that is wrong thinking. It is wrong thinking. I have worked hard to find wellness and wholeness. And I am sincerely grateful for the progress I have made. And I, like Simi just said, every victory deserves to be celebrated. A victory is a victory is a victory is a victory. And I am here to say, yes, that is so true. We're celebrating with you guys. Good job.
Both Simi and Jack are reminding us that Jody does have her TEDx talk linked in the bio on her Twitter account. So if you want to watch it, apparently go to her Twitter homepage, Don't Run Baby Girl, at Don't Run Baby Girl, and the link to the video up on YouTube is in her bio, and you can watch it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jack and Simi. You guys are awesome. Gosh, I think we're going to be transitioning, you guys. We're going to be transitioning into the portion of our broadcast where we I do not know what happened. What is going on for real? Google.
Gremlins.
Mr. Okay, this is out of control. Are you kidding me right now? Please don't happen again. Please don't happen again. Please don't happen again. We are going to be transitioning to the portion of our broadcast where we share with you how you can get plugged into safe community with other survivors. And so I just want real quick for all of you that showed up live, we still have people. We're running just a little bit, about 5 minutes over, but we still have a whole bunch of people here. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being just part of our favorite day of the entire week, because we get to come and hang out and spend time with you guys. And please continue to share with us what is helpful for you, what parts of our broadcast are the most helpful for you, what topics you would like us to discuss. We do have next week on deck, what does a healthy relationship look like? That's going to be the topic next week. We know what toxicity looks like as adult survivors of childhood abuse. We know what abuse looks like. We also know what gaslighting and manipulation and all kinds of different manipulative tactics. We know what unsafe people look like, but we're going to take a look at characteristics of safe people and characteristics of healthy relationships. And we're going to discuss that sort of like so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you are getting ready to like go into a relationship. You can actually go, wait a second, I have that grid. I have that guideline. I'm going to run this person in this relationship through this grid to see if it's healthy and to see if it's safe. So that's what's up on deck for next week for Trauma Recovery University. Hashtag no more shame, hashtag CSAQT, hashtag sex abuse chat next week in the third week of February. I just really quickly, Bobby, I think I might have already asked you, but do you want to say goodbye or anything to everybody before they take off? If you guys are unless you're gonna stick around and hang out with us and learn how you can share with other people how to be in safe community, did you want to say anything to everybody?
No, just here I am. Look, I'm a video, a graphic. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for coming here and being with us and sharing so openly on a public forum like Twitter. We're always so honored that you trust us to step out and share the hard things and the happy things. So thank you.
Yeah, we are so grateful, you guys. I really quickly want to, as we're transitioning into the portion of our broadcast that outlines how you can get plugged into safe community, there was a little bit of some stuff going on behind the scenes just over the weekend. There was some messaging that was going on, and some of the verbiage that was used in this private messaging with regards to the safe communities that we have in place. The word therapy community or therapy group was used. And I just want to be real clear. Yes, Bobby has a master's degree. She's amazing. She's smart. She has all the letters after her name. She's fabulously incredible in a million other ways besides the fact that she has a master's degree and she's been a therapist for I don't even know how many years. But the safe groups that we invite you to every single week are not therapy groups. We're not inviting you into therapy. We also type out in tweets and say verbally every single week, if you are triggered or you need professional help, reach out to a licensed professional. And we don't advertise these safe groups to invite you and welcome you into as under the guise of therapy. So if you are joining our safe community, it's because you've watched our videos, you have come to know us, you think that you feel safe with us, and you'd like to be welcomed into safe community with other survivors. To give support, receive support, and it's safe community with other survivors. It is not therapy. So I just want to get that out there and make sure that that is super duper clear because I feel like somehow it's gotten lost in translation or miscommunicated or misconstrued. So that's all I really had to say before we transition into this portion, Bobby.
Okie dokie. I will transition. There we go.
It looks awesome.
Oh, there we are.
I love that picture of us in Texas.
Me too. Okay, so here are some ways to connect with Athena and I if you would like to. Via email, I'm BobbyLParish@gmail.com. Athena is Athena Moberg speaking @gmail.com. And then we have our joint email account, which is nomoreshameproject@gmail.com. We do our very, 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 very best to get back to you as soon as we can. Please be patient with us because it's just the two of us. doing this along with, having families and full-time jobs and all sorts of other things. So if we don't get back to you within the time frame that you would expect, we would just ask for a little bit of grace as we work to cover as many bases as we can with only 2 arms apiece. So 4 arms altogether. If you would like to connect with us on Twitter, I am Bobby L. Parrish. Athena is Athena Moberg, and Trauma Recovery University is Trauma Recovery U. If you would like to connect with us on Facebook, the Trauma Recovery University page is Trauma Recovery University. My professional page is Bobby Parrish Coaching and Consulting. My personal page is Bobby Parrish. Athena's professional page is Athena Moberg Speaking, and her personal page is Dawn Athena Moberg. We have all of our broadcasts up in video format on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and do a search for Trauma Recovery University. We also have them up on our Roku TV channel that is available, again, just doing a search for Trauma Recovery University. We're also available on Google+, and then if you would like to tune in on these video broadcasts or connect with us, you may do so 24/7, 365 at bit.ly/Trauma Recovery U, and the capitals do matter. They make a difference.
Yeah, they do.
Some places they do, some places they don't. In that instance, they do.
We lost your fancy dancy logo with your name and your title and everything again because of the Google software. Not like you need to fix it, but I just wanted to let you know we lost it again.
Okay, let's see here. Present to everyone. Okay, here are the opportunities that we have for you to connect with our community of survivors. You may do so. Whoa, that was a little more close to my, whoa, a little faster than I wanted to go, a little closer. We have, as Athena mentioned, the 3 Twitter chats a week. The first one is on Monday using the hashtag CSAQT, and that stands for Child Sexual Abuse Question Time. And it is at 10 o'clock Pacific time and 6 p.m. in the UK. Tonight, right here, if you're watching us live, is the second Twitter chat combined with a live video broadcast, and that is at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and that ends up being at 2 o'clock in the morning on Tuesdays if you're in the UK. And then Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, we've tried to be consistent, so things are at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern, or Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the morning is the original sex abuse chat, hashtag sex abuse chat. And then if you would like to connect with us through Facebook and belong to one of our community support groups, not therapy groups, you can do that by using this simple 4-step process. And we ask that you use this process because it is truly the most speedy and easy way for you to get inserted into one of our support groups. Other ways, much more complicated and don't happen as fast. So just go ahead and use this method and you will get results much more quickly. So like the Trauma Recovery University Facebook page, like I just showed you on the other slide, and then send friend requests to both Athena and I. Send them to both of us, please, because you never know when one of us might be able to get back to you before the other. And then after one of us or both of us have accepted your friend request, then send us a private Facebook message saying, you know, I'd like to heal in safe community. I'd like to belong to one of your support groups. And then we can connect with you. If you send us a message before we accept your friend request, it goes into our infamous other folder. We get no notifications there's anything in there, and it just sits for a long, long time. So wait until we accept your friend request, and then we'll reach out to you. If we do not already know you from one of our Twitter chats or from interacting with you on Twitter or having it met you in person at an event, then we will likely ask you some questions.
Yeah,
And,
I wanted to just say something really, really quickly, Bobby, if that's okay.
sure.
Um, the vetting process, you guys, we normally will just ask you a few questions. And I had a lot of interaction over the weekend. I don't know if it's because it was Valentine's Day or what, but like it was just a very, very, very busy weekend of people connecting and wondering about getting plugged in. But we do ask you a few questions. We ask you about your abuse. We ask you, different questions like, how old were you when you were abused, or are you still in touch? What are your recovery goals? And I want to be really clear, like our one or two of our safe communities we are all there to encourage one another. We come from all walks of life, all different countries. We're big, small, rich, poor, everything. I mean, gay, straight, everyone is welcome. Unless you are a predator and you prey on other humans, you're welcome in our group. And we ask that you accept us with love the way we accept you with love. And that is unconditionally and non-judgmentally. So, there's prayer, there's support, that's the dynamic that is in our one of our specific groups, if not a couple of them. We do have some other groups that are a little bit more loosely, I don't want to say loose, but it's different. There are different, once we ask those questions and we get to know you a little better, the way that I usually will word this is, I'm asking you these questions because then I will know which group you will be best, you'll be most comfortable in. Like, I want to know where you're coming from. I want to know what you're about. I want to know some of your hot buttons so that I know what group that you'll feel most comfortable in. So we hope you don't take offense to the questions, because we really are asking because we care and we desire to put you in contact with safe people so that you can grow exponentially in your recovery and not be like stuck and stagnant the way that I was for so many years before I found Sex Abuse Chat and Twitter and we started all of this. So that's all I wanted to say, Bobby.
And I had a thought and it just left my head, and hopefully the train will come back around, but if not, wow. Yeah, lost that one. So I think that's it in terms of all the things that I have to share in screens and slides and slides and screens.
Oh, Stu was saying that one of his signs of recovery, one of the first signs of progress in his recovery, was when he started saying no and not feeling bad about it. And I told him that was one of my first signs also. It's huge. I mean, that's having a healthy boundary, and boundaries are terrifying for survivors.
Yep, it is.
So, yeah.
It is. That's a healthy boundary. Learning to say no.
And not feel bad about it. I mean, that's huge. I mean, even feeling the fear and feeling the uncomfortable feels and then doing it anyway, that's having a healthy boundary. Yes, but when you don't feel bad about it, that is huge progress. So this is such a joy for us to come here every single week and hang out with you guys. We're going to say a very fond farewell to you until next week, where we'll be talking about safe relationships, healthy relationships. There was a question on the Twitter stream: is this going to be all about romantic relationships, or will it be relationships in general? And the answer is both, all relationships and romantic relationships. We'll be discussing the whole gamut of relationships: work relationships, interpersonal relationships, family relationships. How do you navigate through that? Sometimes it can look like a really muddy soup. And just what does it look like to have healthy relationships with people? And we'll go through all the different dynamics of people. So, Bobby, did you have anything that you wanted to say to everybody before we say goodbye?
No, just thank you everyone for being here. And we look forward to seeing you next week, where we're focus some more on really positive parts of recovery and knowing how we're getting better.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your evening with us. I'm Athena Moberg, and this is Bobby Parrish, and we love to bring you everything you need for healthy, informed trauma recovery. We will see you next week on the topic of what do healthy relationships look like. Aloha, everyone.